What is philosophy? Philosophy. A word often heard, rarely understood, and frequently misunderstood. When people hear philosophy, they might think of old men in togas, complex theories, or deep quotes that seem to make no sense at first glance. But philosophy is much more than that. It's not just something studied in universities or pondered by intellectuals. It's something that shapes how we see the world, how we live, and how we make sense of everything around us. So, what is philosophy? At its core, philosophy is the love of wisdom. The word itself comes from two ancient Greek words, philo, meaning love, and sophia, meaning wisdom. So philosophy is, quite literally, the pursuit or love of wisdom. But wisdom here doesn't just mean knowing lots of facts. It means understanding the deeper truths about life, existence, knowledge, morality, and reality. Philosophy asks the big questions. Questions that have no easy answers. Questions that challenge us to think critically, reflect deeply, and live consciously. Let's take a closer look. The big questions. Philosophy explores questions that most of us have thought about at some point in our lives. What is the meaning of life? Is there a God? Second, what is truth? What is right and wrong? Do we have free will? What is consciousness? What makes something beautiful? What is justice? These are not just abstract intellectual puzzles. They affect how we live. For example, if you believe in free will, you might think people are responsible for their actions. But if you believe everything is determined by fate or biology, you might see things differently. Philosophy gives us tools to think through these questions with clarity and depth. It doesn't always give clear answers, but it helps us explore possible answers and understand why different people believe different things. To understand philosophy better, let's look at its main branches. Each branch focuses on a different type of question. It asks what exists. What is the nature of reality? Are we just physical beings, or is there something more like a soul or consciousness that goes beyond matter? 2. Epistemology. This is the study of knowledge. What does it mean to know something? How do we know what we know? Can we trust our senses? Is all knowledge subjective? 3. Ethics. Ethics is about right and wrong, good and bad. It asks, what should I do? How should I live? What is the right thing to do? Is morality universal, or does it change from culture to culture? 4. Logic. Logic deals with reasoning. It helps us think clearly, avoid contradictions, and make good arguments. It's the foundation of rational thinking. 5. Aesthetics. This branch is about beauty, art, and taste. What makes something beautiful? Is art subjective? Why are we moved by music or stories? 6. Political philosophy. This explores questions about government, justice, rights, and the structure of society. What is a just society? What is freedom? What is power? These branches are interconnected. A question in ethics often leads to questions in metaphysics or epistemology. That's the beauty of philosophy. It's a web of ideas. Why philosophy matters. In today's fast-paced, high-tech world, some people might wonder if philosophy is still relevant. But consider this. When you ask, what should I do with my life? You're doing philosophy. When you question whether something is fair or just, you're doing philosophy. When you reflect on whether reality is as it seems, you're doing philosophy. Philosophy sharpens our minds. It teaches us to question assumptions, think critically, and argue respectfully. It helps us understand other people's perspectives and build deeper, more meaningful lives. In fact, today's greatest innovations and ideas were born from philosophical thought. The scientific method was influenced by philosophical discussions on how we know what we know. Philosophy isn't just Western. Every culture has its own philosophical traditions. In India, ancient texts like the Vedas and Upanishads explore deep metaphysical questions. Schools like Vedanta, Buddhism, and Jainism developed profound ideas about consciousness, suffering, and liberation. In China, Confucianism and Taoism offer rich views on ethics, harmony, and the nature of the universe. In Africa, oral traditions and indigenous wisdom offer philosophical reflections on community, identity, and spirituality. In Islamic philosophy, thinkers like Avicenna and Averroes blended Greek philosophy with Islamic theology. In the West, figures like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Descartes, and Kant laid the foundations for modern thought. This diversity shows that philosophy is a human activity. Wherever there are people, there is wonder. And wherever there is wonder, there is philosophy. Famous philosophers and their ideas. Let's meet a few philosophers and what they're known for. Socrates. He taught by asking questions, encouraging people to think for themselves. The unexamined life, he said, is not worth living. Plato. A student of Socrates, he believed in a higher realm of perfect forms beyond the physical world. Aristotle. He focused on observing the world and believed virtue is found in balance, what he called the golden mean. Descartes. Known for, I think therefore I am, he sought certainty by doubting everything. Immanuel Kant. He tried to reconcile reason and experience and argued that morality comes from rational duty, not consequences. Nietzsche. He challenged traditional morality and famously said, God is dead, urging people to create their own values. Simone de Beauvoir. A feminist philosopher who explored freedom, identity, and gender. Confucius. Emphasized ethics, family loyalty, and social harmony. Philosophy isn't just about history or abstract thought. Modern philosophy in everyday life. Philosophy isn't just about history or abstract thought. It has practical applications. In education, it helps develop critical thinking and ethical awareness. In politics, it influences how we build fair and just systems. In business, it shapes leadership, responsibility, and corporate ethics. In science, it asks what counts as evidence and how theories are built. In psychology, it helps understand consciousness and the self. Even in our personal lives, philosophy shows up when we make choices, reflect on our values, or seek meaning in suffering. Think of Stoicism, a school of thought from ancient Rome, that teaches us to focus on what we can control and accept what we can't. It's helped millions of people deal with stress, grief, and uncertainty. Or existentialism, which says that life has no inherent meaning, and that it's up to us to create meaning through our choices and actions. That can be scary, but also empowering. Philosophy is a way of life. For many, philosophy is not just something to study. It's a way to live. The ancient Greeks believed philosophy should help you live a better, wiser, more virtuous life. That's why philosophers like Socrates didn't just teach in classrooms. They walked the streets, asking people to think, reflect, and live consciously. Modern-day thinkers like Alain de Botton have revived this idea, showing that philosophy can help with love, work, self-esteem, and more. Because at the heart of it all, philosophy is about becoming more human, more aware, more thoughtful, more free. So what is philosophy? Philosophy is asking why, and not being satisfied with easy answers. It's thinking deeply, living wisely, and questioning boldly. It's both ancient and modern, abstract and practical, personal and universal. It's the compass we use when facts aren't enough. It's the light we turn to in the dark corners of existence. You don't need a degree to be a philosopher.